Dolls. So, busy wee day today as far as politics is gone. So, we know, I hope you have seen the reform um, announcements. We want anything better to say about it. Nigel Farage. Yeah, it's on YouTube, guys. You know what I mean? I'm not really, don't like doing this, you know what I mean? But I cannot sit and watch stuff and see things being said in a certain way and not comment on it about what I think. I wouldn't be doing myself a justice and I wouldn't be doing you a justice just because I don't want to put people off voting for reform. You know, I'm not here to put anybody off voting for anybody and I'm not encouraging anybody to vote for anybody. You know what I mean? Who I vote for is my personal thing, you know what I mean? It's like, I have no problem sharing it. I'm not 100% sure yet, but personally I can see me going towards UKIP, you know. But let's start off. Like, Nigel Farage has told is basically telling us stuff that we already know, as you can see.
30 this morning, we got the latest immigration figures, which are horrendous. Horrendous if you want to get a GP appointment. Horrendous if you want to travel around Britain's motorways. Horrendous if you want your kids or grandkids to ever get a foot onto the housing ladder. Horrendous in terms of producing very disjointed societies and communities. And the message is pretty clear. 750,000 in the last year. And don't believe the lies and spin that it's a 20% reduction from the year before. It isn't. The year before's figures have been raised now in 2 instalments by 230,000. So let's get it into our heads. In 2023, under a Conservative government, nearly 1 million net people came into our country. This after manifestos in 2010, 2015, 2017 and 2019 promising in the first 3 they'd reduce the numbers to tens of thousands a year, and in the last one a substantial reduction. I have had enough of being lied to by the Conservative Party. I don't believe they'll be forgiven at any point in the next few years for what they have done and the impact it's had on people's lives. And you might have noticed, the quicker the population rises, the poorer the average family in Britain becomes. And those figures are now undeniable. Of course, with Labour, it's even worse. And I don't think smashing the gangs is going to work. It's perhaps worth just mentioning briefly that the asylum bill, we've had those figures this morning, that has gone up by 36% in 1 year to 5.38 billion. And that doesn't even include the daily cost of what is happening in the English Channel with drones, with Border Force, and with the massive processing centre at Manston.
So, it's like, this is what we've been shouting from the rooftops for ages and ages, you know? It's like, did they really need to have that come out? How many immigrants are coming into the country for them to know how much that we're suffering on the streets? Did they not listen to anything we say? You know, and like, when you've got Farage, and let me tell you something about Labour as well before I get into the Farage thing. Farage came out and said this.
Of course, with Labour, it's even worse. And I don't think smashing the gangs is going to work.
And then Labour, fucking 3-4 hours later, came out and said this.
The Independent Office of National Statistics has conducted vital work on the state of immigration and found the previous government were running an open borders experiment. As the ONS sets out, nearly 1 million people came to Britain in the year ending June 2023.
It's like, guys, what is going on? Like, what is going on, you know? It's like, we don't even exist. That's what it feels like. It feels like we don't exist. You know, everybody, it seems to be in power right now, is just full of BS. Like, Labour are going on about blaming the Tories. Like, oh, we've just got the figures today, and oh my goodness, it's a million people. We know, we know that, and like they're blaming the Tories. It was Tony Blair that started this. It was the Labour Party that started this. You know, aye, you blame the Tories. Yes, it was the Tories. Nobody's not blaming the Tories, but don't come out after Farage has just come out. Say exactly what he said as our leader, and then expect us to all to go, oh, thanks, Prime Minister. You know, come on, man. And like Farage, like I'm not being funny, like, but he's the establishment, and I'm sitting there watching it the day, and I'm thinking to myself, wow. I'm like, because he sounds so good, you know what I mean? For people out there that are looking for hope, they're looking for somebody to lead them. They're looking for somebody to get them out of the hole that we're in. He does sound good, and I can see how very easily people will blindly follow that man. And let me give you a wee scenario. Imagine 4 years down the line, 4 years of hell, and then we vote reform in. To find out reform are just exactly the same as Labour and the Conservatives. We can see that by the Conservatives that are moving from the Tories and in the reform, you know. And then when you pick up the little thing about him when he was saying he's vetting everyone, anyone who comes in the reforms vetting. What's he actually vetting? You know, is he talking about Tommy Robinson? You know what I mean? Have you seen the people that's been kicked out of reform for just for supporting one of our working class guys? You know. And another point I want to make as well, guys. Just like the establishment, who did he have asking them the questions? BBC, Sky News, Channel 4. Where was all our citizen journalists? Where's all the journalists that we are relying on? We don't rely on Sky News, BBC, or Channel 4. None of us. Nobody that votes for reform rely on them news outcasts. So why did he let them speak? Why did he let them ask questions? They do not represent us. They do nothing but lie for the government. So straight away he's in bed. You can see by the type of questions he was being. They're in bed already with Sky News and BBC News. This is who your reform is. I'm telling you guys, you know, I thought we were changing things, but you're not, guys. You're going to come out of the frying pan straight into the fire. And what's going to happen is when that happens, because of the fight we've just had to get rid of Labour, I'm talking 4 years' time. God knows what Nick will be in 4 years' time, but we'll be totally exhausted. Believe you me, everybody will be totally exhausted, mentally and physically. And then we get reform, and then we realise that they're just the same. There's no fight left. If you were leading the world, leading the establishment, would you not have a plan like this? Wouldn't it be perfect if everybody, the working class, everybody, were to go with a politician or a group of politicians who they thought were going to be different but weren't? Wouldn't that just be the perfect fit? That's the way they work. Because we're all too blinded just by following things all the time, the sheep that we are. Nobody stops to think. And I'm not saying don't vote for reform. At the end of the day, and this is another thing, even if we did call a re-election, we don't even have the people there. We'd need to re-elect Tories. It's an absolute nightmare. We do not have anybody. We'll never have anybody that represents us. That's what the vetting's all about. You know, that's what the vetting's. They're going to take Tories before they bring anybody else in. Like, if that was me, 4 years you've got, I'd be picking the brightest. Doesn't matter what background they are. But I would be looking for working class guys and girls, young ones that are coming up. And I would have 4 years of training them of becoming politicians and representing the people. If that's what they wanted to do, you've got 4 years. Say they're 20, 24, they're 24, 28. You know, we need a big change. You know what I mean? We need to take a leaf out of America's book, and the people we know who we want. You know, we know who represents us, and it's not people from the establishment. It's not the schoolboys. We've had year after year after year of the same type of people coming in. You know, and like I say, we're just sheep. You know, you look at Nigel Farage and the raffle that they had, the 100,000th winner. You know, happened to be that Tory woman. It just happens to be their biggest catch from the Conservatives. It's all a bit strange. Everything's a bit strange. They're no speaking our language at all, guys. You know, and that's probably why I'll veer towards UKIP. You know, see how they go. It's very difficult, very difficult for Reform or UKIP or ADP or any of the other ones, SDP. Very difficult because the Conservatives and Labour have been there for so long now. You know, they've sort of dug in. You know what I mean? And it makes it really difficult. And we haven't been teaching our kids to become leaders. You know, they've been teaching our kids to become workers, not leaders. Private school, they get taught to become leaders. They get taught to become politicians. They don't teach our kids that, you know. And that's why we don't have anybody that represents the working class. You know what I mean? And I don't even think there's a solution. You know, maybe 25 years, 30 years down the line, we might have a solution, you know, but, you know, obviously the establishment, these schoolboys, they're going to do everything to keep us down. They're going to stop because they know once we come into power, we're going to see all that they've done, all the bad stuff they've done, all the lies that they've told the people, you know. You see them smiling across at each other, Labour and Conservatives. They're all mates. They're all friends. Don't ever kid yourself. Believe you me. They're all implicit in the destruction of this country by allowing too many immigrants, whether illegal or illegal, into the country. And it's too late. And they know it's too late. And Labour is just like trying to blame the Tories because so basically what's happened today, Reform have come out and told everybody what we've all been screaming from the rooftops for the last year. And then 3 hours later, Labour come out and say the exact same thing, but they blame the Tories. So Reform come up, they blame Labour. Labour's come up, they blame the Tories. You know, they're all implicit, you know. It's frustrating. Has anybody ever heard Farage saying he would deport a single person? Not going to happen, you know. And this is the facts. The facts of this. These guys are here to stay, right? As far as births go, they're going to have far more children than us. We're not having children. They're going to have multiple children to multiple women because that's their tradition. That's their culture. Not every single one of them, but quite a lot of them have that kind of two, two wives at least, you know, and children to both wives. And yeah, and there's going to be more. Like it's not going to stop. But just what's here now, that our demographics going to change in 50 years, for 30 years. You know, I mean, there's nothing stopping that now. Listening to the Reform, listening to Labour, not one of them said they're going to do anything about it. They're all too busy blaming each other for it. But not one of them have spoke about deportation today. Not one of them have spoke about removing people. They shouldn't be here. Um, yeah, we're being lied to. We're just being lied to. We're all being played. You know what I mean? Um, Conservatives like Farage will go in with the Conservatives if he can take the power off Labour. Of course, he's going to work with the Conservatives. You honestly think Reform are going to turn down power just by not working with the Conservatives in a coalition? Of course they are. So why is he even lying? Like his land is, you know, because we wouldn't expect them to turn that down, and he knows that people wouldn't expect them to turn that down. The people would expect them to work with the Tories if it meant That was the only way of getting labour off, labour off out of 10 Downing Street. So yeah, there's another interesting video which came out, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play relevant clips. You can catch it. I'll put the description. I'll put the link in the description, and you can catch the full video.
Nigel says that Brexit was done. It's just that we didn't take advantage of it. We didn't move far away enough from the EU in order to reveal the benefits of Brexit. But I completely disagree. I can't make any case for Nigel's position, and it's not just semantics. I can't make any case for it because Northern Ireland's been left behind. What kind of country are we if we don't fight for British citizens? We are knout if we're not prepared to stand for that fight.
Northern Ireland, and I'm not being thingy here. You know what I mean? It's like, don't be, because it says about Northern Ireland. Yes, I'm not happy about what happened, but it's not about Northern Ireland. This isn't the point of me bringing Ben and Heap to your attention. If you just stick with this, it'll make you understand why I think if this man started the party up, this would be the guy I would get behind.
On the other, and they're these. In an interview, Nigel said that he wasn't against the rapid demographic change in the United Kingdom. It was the cultural aspect of the United Kingdom, the cultural integrity of the United Kingdom that concerned him. Well, for me, the rapid demographic change in the UK is the other side of the same coin of the difficulties we're facing culturally. I don't see how you can separate them. Again, you might see this as semantics. I see it as quite a fundamental point. In the same interview, Nigel said that he was not in favour of mass deportations. Well, I'm firmly in favour of mass deportations. Anyone in this country who is here illegally must be detained and deported. Again, this is not semantics. I think Nigel in a subsequent interview said that there are problems, logistical problems in detaining and deporting so many people. I think there's over 1 million people in the United Kingdom illegally. But I concede that point readily. Of course, there are logistical issues, but that doesn't mean you don't do it. You begin doing it and you keep doing it until it's done, even if it takes a long time. That is the path on which the United Kingdom must set itself.
And guys, the last wee bit I want to show you is basically about Tommy Robinson rally. And what I want you to understand, guys, is even if you don't support Tommy Robinson, right? You've got to, Julep's jumped up behind me, so she has. You've got to think about this logically. Now, Tommy Robinson can easily, probably when he gets out now, probably get up to 200,000 out on the streets in a rally. You could probably have another million plus watching online from Britain, and God knows how many from the rest of the world. He's got a huge, huge following, you know. So we all know that he's not a criminal, he's not a terrorist and all the rest of it, and everything that's happened to him is because he's been targeted by the government. I'm not going to go into it, but I just want you to listen to see what Ben says.
Richard Tice saying that he described the gathering on the 20th of September in Whitehall in Parliament Square as that lot, eschewing, I think, the support of our movement, people, valid British citizens who no doubt voted Reform UK. He regarded them as unpalatable, and I imagine in an attempt to sanitise Reform UK, he was prepared to, effectively throw them under a bus. And I have an issue with that. I think we've got to be true to what we believe in. We've got to say it the way it is. This country has had enough of political expediency. We need people to tell it as it is.
There's so many things that are red lights to me. Being a people person, being in so many prisons from such a young age for so long, you learn to read people, you know, and it is a skill. I don't know if it's a skill or if it's just luck. I don't know what it is, but and it's natural. You don't even think it's special because it comes natural. You understand? It's like, you know, when I meet somebody, I just know who they are, know what they're about, you know, within seconds. It's not one of the ones where I need to ask them questions. You just know. You can tell by their mannerisms, the way they move, the way they look. You can see into their soul sometimes. There's other things that I've learnt along the way. Eye movement, touched in the face, looking down, looking up. There's certain things that give away dishonesty. And like, yeah, I don't trust Nigel Farage as far as I can throw him. And I think he's going to tell us whatever we want to hear to get the power that he wants. He's power hungry. He's part of the establishment. He's not going to go against the people that run the country, run the world. They're the bankers. He's a banker. He's not going to go against them. You know. He's already been told off by them when his money's got frozen out over the Brexit carry on or whatever. He's not going up against them guys. You know. The only people that's going to go up against them guys are people that've got nothing to lose. People that aren't millionaires, working class guys who just love their country. They love the people of the country, no matter what colour you are, no matter what religion you are. And but would be fair. You know what I mean? Would be fair, and would definitely like make sure the vulnerable people in this country were at the top of the list and everything, are old and are young. No matter what, they would come first. 110%. So yeah, it's not hard really. Like they get somebody that knows what they're doing in the power. The problem is that they're not going to let us. They're not going to let any of us get in the power, guys. You know. Um, it looks good from the outside when you'll have a wee glance. It does look good. I can see why Reform are going to do well. I can see how a lot of people are going to be blindsided because the blinkers on. And like I say, they're just looking for hope. There's nothing else out there. He's the only thing we've got to offer. I can only hope to God that we, the people, awaken as we move forward with Reform. Because we can change the leadership. Um, I'm not going to go on and on about it. It's at the end of the day, I'm just telling you, this is about me. This is my personal feelings, my opinion. You don't need to listen to it. You don't need to take anything off it. I'm not telling you that do not vote or to vote or follow or unfollow or not whatever. I'm just telling you what I think. And I have to be honest, and I don't like doing it. Because I'm absolutely gutted after watching that today. I'm absolutely gutted. So I am, because there's things that I can see that the man is fake. He's saying the right things at the right time, but he's not saying it meaningful. He's not telling us anything that we don't already know. We're wanting solutions. We don't want to be told what we already know. We want to know what we're going to do to change it, you know. But yeah, it's very disheartening. Very, very disheartening. So it is, you know. The way he was speaking about, vetting people and all that, it's like, we've got no, none of our guys have got, you get any of your family involved in prison or anything even to do with going towards the far right, you got no chance of getting in there. Doesn't matter who you are as a person, you're not going to be judged as a person. You're going to be judged about what's on paper, you know. And that's sad because it's going to exclude quite a lot of people. You know what I mean? And basically, the strictest vetting any political party's ever had, as he says, it's basically they make sure none of us get in, and they make sure it's all snobs. And believe you me, Reform is going to be full Conservatives before the end of next year. Okay? Don't care what anybody says. It's going to be full of Conservatives by the end of next year. And there's going to be a joke about it that we're just voting for Tories again. That's guarantee it. That's going to be the joke next year. This time next year, that's going to be a running joke about Reform. That it's just like voting for the Tories again. I'm really disheartened, really, really sad. I can understand why people are going now, you know what I mean? Again, like Labour again didn't say nothing. What were they going to do about it? But the big bad Tories have let a million people in, they shouldn't have. No, nothing about the illegal immigration, you know what I mean? Because the immigrants that they're talking about, most of them are getting jobs. I imagine most of them are getting jobs. These are legal immigrants coming over here to work, you know? I like to think so. The illegal immigrants, they're not coming here to work. They're coming here for the benefits, Um, we're in a bad place. We're in such a bad place. And none of these guys that you've seen today coming out with their wee platforms and giving it the big cheesy grins as Farage does, the big cheesy smile that he likes to give. Reminds me of Kamala, if I'm honest, like, and Starmer with his stern look and his sky blue tie on, you know, blaming everybody but himself. Yeah, you know, it's what they don't say is the most important here, guys. I'm going to leave you with that. Please look at these people when you're watching them and think about it. It's what they're not saying that's the problem. The things that they're saying, I'm saying on my videos. You have already heard what they're telling you. Like, I'm telling you more than what they're telling you, and I've been doing this for like 4 months, because I can see the serious problems on the streets. I'm seeing it big time. Our hospitals are really, really struggling. And that's them just telling us now. But no, everybody's blaming everybody else, you know. It's really sad, guys. Really, really sad. But hope you enjoyed the video. Check your subscriptions, guys, because it keeps going up and down again. Just make sure you're still subscribed. And if you hit that wee bell button, apparently then you get a notification when I put my next video out. So, listen, guys. Sorry again. It is one of them videos, but I am really, really fed up with what I'm seeing from our political parties in this country. I'm a bit embarrassed about what I'm seeing on like big YouTube podcasts and stuff like that in America. What they're saying about us, every podcast, like everybody and their uncle has got something to say about Britain, and it's really, really embarrassing that we're the ones living this nightmare. Everybody else is laughing at it, not laughing at us, but laughing at how ridiculous our Labour government is. They're blaming the Tories, but everybody, the Labour's done more damage in 4 months than the Tories have ever done with our freedom of speech. So, guys, I go on and I go on and I go on. So I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna add this bit in. I'm gonna take a wee bit out, and I'm gonna say, God bless every single one of you.